Hi everybody, this is Alice, the Jeweled Hedgehog. I have decided to just keep right on vlogging, um, happy vlogs or not, and so this is, I guess, what I would consider the second installment of my Fighting Depression vlog. Okay, I am so scatterbrained. Things I wanted to tell you about. The final kid party, which was on Sunday. A really cool new thing that I have. What I'm doing to try and fight the depression and make myself feel better. Oh, I just wanted to say I saw Neen from Neen Crochet. Hi Neen. I don't have any idea if she watches me. But when I first found out that, found people doing crafts on YouTube, actually the first person I ever found was Jen from Jen Likes Yarn. Hi Jen. Um, but I very quickly found, all the other, not cast off, fresh off the hook people, and I found Neen, and she's one of the very first crocheters I started watching. So I'm very happy to see her again. I know things have not been going smoothly, but she is back and looking beautiful and wonderful. And I could not hear what she said, but I'm sure there will be more to come. So anyway, just wanted to put that in. Anyway, let's see. Oh, okay. This was birthday month. This was crazy month. My cousin had a birthday. My oldest and my youngest nieces had birthdays. Of course, my sister had Mother's Day. But it all finally wound up and ended this Sunday. Now, the funny thing about this Sunday's party, this was Duckie's 11-year-old birthday party, is that my sister throws what I call kid parties. The kind of thing where you can invite every kid in the class, every kid your age in the neighborhood that you know. And my sister goes through and has these parties either in her yard or at the community pool where they belong. Now the pool will not be open until Memorial Day, but ever since, I guess she probably had the first kid party for my oldest niece when she turned 4. And at that point they were living in their townhouse, and there was really no yard, no place to have it outdoors. So they asked if they could just use the grounds of the community pool, because the community pool has picnic tables, and it also has like a big grassy area, and it has all kinds of play equipment. And believe it or not, 11-year-olds still go on merry-go-rounds and slides and things like that. So anyway, so over the years, now that they have a house, and it has an actual yard, they've kind of alternated depending on the whim of the kid. The two spring girls have alternated between parties in their yard and parties at the community pool. And it has been exhausting. The middle niece has a November birthday, so she's either had birthdays at a place, like a skating rink, or birth parties in the house. But these crazy outdoor parties with sometimes as many as 30 or more kids running around outside, I'm not even remotely nostalgic about that. That was crazy. That was exhausting. So this was the last one, and Duckie had a great time, and but I am relieved. I am relieved that they are over. There's such a tremendous amount of effort, and they really have changed a great deal in nature since I was a kid. They have gotten much more expensive. They did not have the goodie bags when I was a kid. They didn't have, I went to a couple of bowling alleys, for birthdays or movies, but the scale of what my sister routinely does, and what other moms, and dads do, because I have taken my nieces to parties and picked them up from parties. We have craft tables, so you have to go out and buy all the supplies and all the kits to do the crafts. and the goodie bags and et cetera, et cetera. And these are some pricey little events. Um, I have done, mini craft tables and, sometimes we'll have multiple things set up because when they were younger, when all the girls were younger, my sister would say you had to invite the entire class. And so it would be both boys and girls. And now that they're older, they're 11, they think boys are some sort of disease. Now the 15-year-old doesn't feel that way, but the 11-year-old does. So now it's, over the past couple of years for her, it's been girl parties only, and that makes the activities a little simpler. Um, but when they were all younger and they had the mixed gender parties, finding, crafts for the girls and crafts for the boys and things everybody would like and games everybody would like. Anyway, I am rambling. I'm rambling incessantly. They are exhausting. The girls love them, and it was definitely worth it. And my sister really was a saint to do it. Um, but anyway, basically, Orthodox Jewish girls get their bat mitzvahs at age 12. I'm pretty sure I've said this in some of my other vlogs. Normally, I guess the standard non-Orthodox is both boys and girls. Boys have bar mitzvahs, girls have bat mitzvahs at 13, but the Orthodox separate it and they give the girls theirs a year younger. So the 12th year birthday party is the big bat mitzvah celebration. And then after that, there are no more hosted birthdays. My sister will cook a special dinner. They can invite a few friends. Maybe they can have a sleepover on the weekend, but no more. Oh, and she'll bake a cake, or a special dessert, but no more of this outrageousness. Oh, and it was so funny. The cake was hilarious because my sister works pretty close to full time. And, she has the 3 kids and she gets very, very busy. And she also is like me. At one point she was on medicine for ADD and she had to give it up, I think, because it made her nauseated. So things tend to happen at the last minute. And she ended up baking the cake the morning of the party. And it was a cake shaped like a cat head, because Duckie had a cat themed birthday party. And it was double layered, and it was beautifully decorated. I love the cat eyes. But anyway, um, she had read that what you're supposed to do, like especially with homemade icing, this was a completely from scratch cake. You're supposed to put them in the freezer to kind of set everything, set the icing. Well, she didn't, and it was very warm and humid on Sunday, and she forgot to, open the windows and air out the car. So we get in the car, and my middle niece, my sister, and I were the last ones to leave, and we had the cake. And my middle niece was holding it, and just being in the car for like the 7-minute drive to the community pool, the icing started to like melt and run because my sister had not had time to refrigerate or freeze it. And then every time the car would jiggle or go around a turn, the top layer would sort of slide back and forth on top of the bottom layer, and it was getting all crooked. So my niece sat there with sort of her fingers poked in at the sides to keep the top layer from sliding off the bottom. And we got there and we tried to, kind of repair it as best we could, and we stuck it in a refrigerator that they had. So it was not too much of a disaster, and of course they all ate it up and didn't seem to care. I have talked for 10 minutes about an 11-year-old's birthday party. Oh my. But anyway, she absolutely loved the journal that I ordered from Andi. I ordered a journal from Andi. Andi Believes. Um, and her link is down here in the, oh, Graham's here. And the list of vloggers that I watch. And I'll put a link to Mountain Rose Studios, which is her webpage. And she does art journals, she does writing journals, and I ordered for me and for my niece kind of a combination of like writing journal and scrapbook. And she included little stickers and really cool things to decorate it with. And Duckie is thrilled. So anyway, Birthday month is over and I am relieved. So, that is that. Um, I think Susie Cusey, you said you just did not have the energy to do a kid party. You would be amazed how it can sap the energy. There were like 20 11-year-old girls. There was my sister, my brother-in-law, and I, my two older nieces, and my oldest niece's best friend. So you had two 15-year-olds and a 13-year-old, and of course, three old people. So six people, tending the 20 little 11-year-olds. We all came home drained, just like, and Duckie was still running around, chittering and chattering, happy as a clam. So, yeah. But anyway, okay, the cool thing that I got, let me introduce you to Circe. I know, she looks a little scary, but I think she looks really, sorry about my never being able to center things, I think she looks really cool. She is my model for my crochet hats. She's a styrofoam head. And she was not actually intended for me. She was made by my 13-year-old niece and her best friend as a hair model thing, a braiding toy, I guess, for my oldest niece on her 15th birthday. And the reason behind this is my oldest niece loves to do hair. She and my sister, my oldest niece used to have very, very long hair, and she donated it to Locks of Love. So now she and my sister both have shoulder-length hair. But my middle niece, the 13-year-old, has hair though so long it comes down to probably the small of her back, below the small of her back. And I think she goes to the bathroom just to make sure she pulls her hair around to the front. So anyway, the oldest girl loves braiding. She does her own hair. She does a magnificent job. Her mother's hair, her sister's hair. So the 13-year-old and friend thought that she might like a toy where she could braid hair. So they bought this styrofoam head, and my middle niece decorated it and kind of gave it, I'm not really sure, like a cyberpunk, psychedelic look. These eyes are silver beads, like from a costume jewelry set. There are words on it that my niece just happened to like this one is puppies. I'm not sure you can see it. Over here, along with this little interesting design, is the word penguins. I found the word moss, because apparently she just thinks moss is pretty. So anyway, they gave it to my oldest niece, and my oldest niece decided, no, I don't really like braiding fake hair, I only want real hair. So I said, oh my goodness, can I have this? Because other people have, models for their hats, heads to put their hats on, but I figured, well, I don't really sell anything, so why bother? But when I saw Circe and she was up for grabs, I took her. So here she is, and she does look a little fierce, but I think she also looks very cool. So that was the cool thing I had to show. And then, okay, trying to cope with my being depressed. Yeah, I saw Z's video, and she's right. The ponchos were getting me down, but I don't think it was so much the ponchos. I mean, I don't like crocheting on demand too much, but I think it's the depression that made me not really able to handle it. I mean, nobody likes to do too much crocheting on demand. It's like being a machine. It's one thing to say I want to make a poncho and I design it like I did mine. I loved mine, the purple one with all the different colors, because I was having so much fun, putting it together, deciding what colors look good. But when people want things, then they get very specific. They pick their own yarn. They tell you exactly what they want, and it's kind of like being a machine. The fun is gone. And that really, I think, accounted for a lot of my lack of creativity, because I think if I hadn't been so depressed, I would have just turned around and said, hey, wait a minute. this is getting awfully boring for me. Um, you guys can, take IOUs on some of your presents because I've done that before. And I remember telling, my sister that I would do hats for her and shawls and anything that was not really fitted. But she's asked for sweaters and things a number of times, and she's highly particular. She was the kind of person who, and she's not trying to be mean or obnoxious, but she would fiddle with an underarm. Well, she would be up by half an inch, quarter of an inch. I'm like, half an inch? Are you serious? I mean, I would notice if something was off by 2 inches, maybe. Um, so I had basically told her that I'm not going to do anything that requires fitting or finagling, because she is just much more particular than me. And for some reason this time, one of the things about my being depressed is I just lose perspective on everything. I lose the ability to think clearly, to handle things. I have a tendency to be a little bit thin-skinned, I think. And for some reason, it just really, really affects me more. I mean, I am working on it. And there's a number of things that I do. One of the things that I do is, it gets very tiring, but I do a lot of self-talk. I mean, I get so many negative thoughts will come in. I tend to, without meaning to, when I get into one of these depressions, I tend to view everything in the worst possible light. And what I do when I catch myself is I really have to say, no, Alice, you're wrong. It is not this. It is not this way. It is not that bad. Blah blah blah. And it does get a little tiring. It's like, it's like having to mother yourself. It's like, you're a 2-year-old and you're having to go through and guide yourself through everything. But it really does help me keep the negativity down. And the other thing, something that I got from Jen, her channel is Rose Elizabeth, was a mantra. And a mantra that invokes a feeling, so sometimes as opposed to all this exhausting self-talk, like, Alice, it is not that big a deal. You need to get some whatever, for dinner. Just go back out, go by the grocery store, pick it up. It'll take a grand total of 15 minutes. Because I'll think, oh, I was going to make spaghetti, but I don't have pasta. Oh well, I will just sit on the sofa in a ball and eat microwave popcorn. And then I just have to, instead of all this thing about, no, it's healthy. Go get the pasta, go get a bag of lettuce, blah, blah, blah. I like the idea of having a mantra of something that invokes a good feeling in me. Like, what a lovely spring morning. And try and close my eyes and think about that feeling that I get when the birds are just clamoring and the air smells good and the sun is starting to come up and you can just tell the day is going to be sun-drenched, and it's like breathing the air is breathing sunlight. And I just think about that, and I often do find myself getting little sparks of energy from the good imagery. So that is one of the things I'm doing to fight it off, just trying to put good imagery into my mind. Reading funny things. Obviously now would not be the time to rewatch one of the seasons of The Walking Dead. And trying to look at the positive things. I have a lot of issues about my mother, and one thing that I was thinking about is that my image of her is during her life, and her life is now past. She is not in that form anymore. And I do not have a clear-cut belief in the afterlife. I don't necessarily believe in the heaven where we're all going to have halos and play harps if we were good, or be in hell burning up if we were bad. I am unclear on, what the afterlife is, but do I believe in it? Yes. I strongly believe in the afterlife. I don't know, if we live here as humans repeatedly, like reincarnation, if we're other places and other forms. But I believe that people's spirits continue, and I believe that God or the universe or whatever you want to call him or her, or hard to say it, we don't have a good word for that, you know, the deity is a loving deity. And my sister once said that she thinks that when people die, whatever burdens, you keep the good that you've learned in this life, but whatever burdens you've acquired, you let go of, and you become what you were meant to be. So I try and hold when I get negative, about things involving my mother, which I tend to around Mother's Day. I've been trying to hold an image of her, not as she was during her life, which was extremely troubled and impossible to get along with, but as she is now. And I believe that she is healed and new and whole and probably what she always wanted to be but never could be. And looking at her like that and I've just decided I'm not going to look backwards because that doesn't exist anymore. It only exists in my memory. There's no more physical reality to that. There's no spiritual reality to that. I believe she's moved on to a much better place and much better existence. And I'm not going to hold that anymore. I'm just going to let it go. Um, do I suddenly feel full of energy and zen? No. But, I'm getting there. Um, and I just have to keep plugging away. I watched Z's most recent vlog, and yeah, what she's going through, really makes me want to cry because I had a cat for 20 years. Her name was Rue, and we went through a lot together. She was my friend. She was my daughter. Relationships came, relationships went. She was there through all of it. And when she passed away, it I lost a family member. I mean, I tell people, no, I've never had any children because if I say, well, my child was this beautiful black cat, they will look at me like, okay, yes, isn't that, hopefully they'll say, isn't that cute? She's one of those cat ladies. Ah, and she crochets too. That's, oh, well, that's an appealing combination. Um, or, they'll think, oh, God, wacko. But, to me, she was a big part of my life, and I think of her as a daughter. And I mean, Z lost hers. Tootie was a big part of her life too. And there's just really nothing to say or do in that situation. I mean, it will pass, to an extent. I have found that the good memories and the happy memories do replace the pain, but it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, not with any big loss does it do that. And the way she's feeling now sounds a lot like the way I'm feeling now. So Z, we're in this mess together. I mean, I don't even seem to have a reason for mine. Um, but it's just one of these things. You just can't give up. It is very easy for me to be negative about people too. Very pessimistic, very fearful, and this feeling of I want to change and start working for a consulting company, and I find myself thinking, why? Everybody's a, nasty, petty pain in the butt no matter where you go. Why not just the devil that you know is better than the devil that you don't, and blah, blah, blah. And I just have to fight it. It's just because that's not true. There are a tremendous amount of nice people, and I have my very closest friend that I'm not related to. I've had for, I guess, close to 15 years now. And never been betrayed. never will be, will never betray him. So, yeah, it's, the desire to completely shut myself off when I feel like this and be suspicious and wary of everybody gets pretty strong. And being alone is fine. I enjoy being alone because a lot of the things that I do are solitary things. But there's a big difference, and I know the difference, and because I can feel it, between being alone because I want to read a book and sip my tea and do exactly what I want to do when I feel like doing it, and the kind of being alone where I come in and I close my door and I flip the deadbolt and I think, ha ha ha, you all are out there and I'm in here and I'm staying that way until I have to go out again. So, eh, anyway, this has been a long vlog, and I swear it was going to be a short one. So, this is Alice climbing up out of the pit, I guess. So anyway, climb, 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 scrabble, scrabble, scrabble. Here I go. I will check back in with everybody tomorrow. Maybe it'll be shorter. Maybe not. Anyway, good night, everybody. Bye.